Hello, Aaron.
Hello.
I believe it's your birthday today,
Yes, it is. Thank
9
you.
19th of September. Happy
That's
birthday.
correct. No, thank you.
So, and your birthday present is to go through three of your losses as you
Yes,
requested.
yes, that's my gift.
Yeah, well, I must commend you. I have students who only want to look at their good games, but of course, you learn a lot more from a loss than from a win. So,
Of
your
course.
level in these videos looks a lot lower than it is because, of course, we only look at games where things went wrong. You have as many very good wins, but yeah, they are less good uh, for learning, for teaching material. So I commend
Good.
you for that.
Thank you.
So let's go through three games. We do three videos on that. And the first game is When You Were White. It was played yesterday on the 18th of September 2024. Your opponent was M7 Mood 997. Your rating was 914 and his rating was 928. Let's see what happened. So the opening, I don't have a lot to say. You both played the opening really well. You played your usual e4 and the classical way of replying with e5. Do you know the name of this opening, Aaron?
Four nights.
The Four Knights, yeah. I wonder why that is, but exactly. And then it transposes into a Spanish. With bishop b5, you get more into the Spanish territory. Bishop c5, all logical stuff, all the following the guidelines of putting your king safe, developing your pieces to logical squares, and get a foothold in the center. Rook e8, I'm not so sure about that move, but okay. Nitpicking, castling, a6, asking your bishop a question. You can take, you can go to a4, you can go to c4, you went to c4, and he kicks your bishop again, and you drop back. Knight a5, what's the point of that move, Aaron? Why did your opponent play knight a5, put the knight on the rim?
To take my bishop on b3.
Exactly. He wants to, has a strong bishop, it has a beautiful diagonal looking at your king. So in many Spanish games, the black goes after the light squared bishop. You played
Okay.
knight e, yeah?
And my first question here is: do I let him take and then take with the a pawn, or do I, move it to d5? But then, what do I do?
Yeah, well, on d5 it can be taken as well, or it can be kicked again with c6. Let's just put it on the board and show. So bishop d5 to make sure that bishop doesn't get captured by that knight. But he can kick it again, right? And you have to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's not a disaster. I mean, of course, it's nice. It's a nice bishop, but and black has to use two moves to capture that bishop, so it takes him some time as well. It's just a
Yeah.
normal. And sometimes, players play a3 or a4 a few moves ago to make sure that bishop can always hide on a2. It's a matter of taste.
Yeah.
You play knight e5, which is fine. He kicked that knight as well, but now the knight does not have to retreat. It can take on f6, and a little success, you have damaged his kingside pawns. That king is now feeling less happy on g8,
Yeah.
and you went with the bishop there, taking
Yeah.
some squares away from the king. So, if you ever get a queen to the g file, it will be checkmate. So, but that's not so easy to get that done. He continues his plan. He played his knight to a5 to take that bishop. And of course, you take towards the center. And getting, suddenly the rook, which is undeveloped, is now suddenly developed, you can say. It has something to do.
Yeah.
But okay. So far, 13 moves in. Both players have played really well. You wouldn't say that this is a game between two 900 players. It could easily be two 16, 1700 players.
Yeah.
F5. Okay. You say, thank you very much. That pawn is hanging. But your opponent had probably seen that and plays queen f6. And that's a double attack, attacking your bishop and your pawn. So he gets the pawn back. Of
Yeah.
course, you're going to save your bishop. So bishop g5. And he takes his pawn back. Still, all very correct play. game is in the balance. Rook e1, getting the rook on a half-open file, and f6. Yeah, I highlighted the king. You know, f6 again. It's taking away a bit of protection around the king. Now, if you ever get an attack going, that king is really a little bit drafty now compared to your king, which is perfectly safe. So that's long-term something you could play for.
Yeah.
He's attacking your bishop, of course, so you save that bishop. And d5. Yeah, strong center. Black is a beautiful pawn center, and that's something that is really nice. You know, if you have a strong pawn center, and then you can maneuver your pieces behind it. That's it's like a wall in the middle of the board. So that's something that's good in Black's camp. You played c3.
Yeah.
And your plan is, because on the next move you play d4. You want to challenge for the center. So that is a good plan.
Yeah.
King h8. Yeah, put the king a bit safer, and maybe he wants to put a rook there, you know, and get the rook on the half-open g-file. So also an understandable move. You play d4, get a foothold in the center, and now it's getting very tactical.
Yeah.
Because he plays, he doesn't save his bishop, he doesn't take, he plays e4, he counter-attacks your knight. So now both pieces, if you take the, well, let's calculate that. You took on c5, you took the bishop, and can he now take your knight?
No, because it's a pin on e8.
Yeah. Loose pieces drop off, and of course, Black is not finished development. You know, I always keep talking to you about development, and this is a good example. If that bishop had been somewhere else, then the rooks would have been connected, and then the rook would not have been loose on e8. But because Black is not fully developed, he's asking for trouble. So white has won a piece, because you just took a knight on c5.
Yeah.
So that's from you playing d4 and him playing e4. E4 was actually a big blunder, because he's not really attacking your knight.
So I won a piece there, yeah?
You won a piece. You took that knight on c5, and you're a piece up.
Good. So far, I'm happy with the game.
Well, you should be. You have played really well.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so often at your level and also at a higher level, games are decided by tactics. You know, both players played positionally really well. And as soon as it got tactical, the first tactic, your opponent already made a mistake. So that is really you can score so many points by playing good tactics.
Yeah.
He played bishop d7. Is he now threatening, if it was Black to play, can he now take on f3?
Yes.
Exactly, because his rook on e8 is now protected twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you saw that, and you played knight d4. Beautiful square for the knight, center of the board, attacking the queen, attacking. And this is a bit of a weak pawn. If that bishop wasn't there, that pawn would fall, and suddenly you would have a passed pawn. And that knight is beautiful on d4. That's a gorgeous piece. He has to save the queen, queen g6. Yeah, he might have plans of something like that, and something that you have to be careful for. So this is also what I say when your opponent is thinking. Try to look for what are his plans. You know, not only what are your plans, but what is he potentially playing for? What is he trying to do? What do I have to look out for? And here you played rook e2. Well, the game was yesterday. Do you remember what your plan was here?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm trying to prepare to double the rooks in a second once I get my queen out. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. No, I struggle a little bit as well to find and double the rooks. You know, the rooks on this file, they're not doing too much. Yeah, they're looking at that pawn, which is protected. I guess if you combine it with trying to attack his center, then the rooks will be good there. But okay, that was your plan. It doesn't spoil anything. I was just wondering what rook e2 does. I looked at this for a while. I think maybe queen d2.
Yeah, that's what I
You're
thought.
connecting the rooks, and this is a nice square for the queen, maybe. Queen f4, a dark square where his bishop can never attack you there. Getting your queen to a more active square and connecting your rooks. That looks like a good alternative.
Yeah.
But you're a piece up. Of course, you're totally winning. But also, you have all your. This is such a strong piece. The bishop is nice. You improve your queen, and the rooks, they don't have a lot to do yet. He controls the center with his pawns, and this rook is keeping this rook honest. Otherwise, you can take on a6. And the other rook, your rook on e1 doesn't have a lot to do yet, but and it's hard to see where that rook in the short term can be deployed. So improving your queen is probably the best thing to do here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, rook e2 was played. He played bishop g4. It looks like, oops, did you blunder material because of the pin, but it's not that simple. And you decided to play f3 to make sure you don't lose an exchange. And he plays bishop. Yeah.
Is that what you would have played, Rick, there?
Hang on, let me get rid of this. Yeah, I don't want to lose an exchange, so maybe I would play f3. Yeah, I'm not totally happy. I would like to, don't really want to open my king.
I'm asking for trouble, really, lining them two pieces up on the diagonal like that. I'm asking for trouble, really.
Well, yeah, and it's fine, but it's not necessary. Even though tactically it works. I guess you had missed bishop d4. Tactically it's okay. As so often as we always say, a strong position is like a strong body. It can endure a lot of pressure. It can endure a lot of attacks. And in this case as well, your position is so good that even though it looks like there's a skewer, you still have a way out. You have f2, f3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in this position where you played rook e2, again, too many arrows. Maneuver like queen d2, queen f4 looks very nice to improve your position more. Yeah. So yeah, it's asking for a little bit of trouble. At least there's some tactics. And if you're a piece up, you don't really want tactics. You want to simplify as much as possible. Take all the heavy pieces off, and then you're just a piece up in the end game, and you win with your eyes closed.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to do more work. f3 to save the exchange. Bishop h3. Is he threatening checkmate on g2?
No.
No.
He takes. I take back with the rook.
Yeah. So from that point of view, the rook is in a good position. It's protecting g2, so there's no checkmate.
See, I calculated all of that.
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very good. And I like this move as well. Bishop g3. It's just Well, why do you think I like that move?
You know what? It's funny you say that because some time ago I did that on the opposite side, and you said I like that. So this is the honest truth now, and the video will show it back. When I played that, I thought of you because I remember I says, I called it Shades of Rick, and he says, no, it's just a good move. But that was what you. I remember you showing me this.
And why is it? Why am I so enthusiastic about Bishop g3? What is nice about that move?
Is it because there's a bit of a weakness with the pawn on the f pawn going forward? So it's a stability. There's a nice diagonal. Protecting checkmates.
Yeah, you said it all of the above. It's just another natural defender of the king. And you are suddenly threatening to win a second piece because now the bishop, the pawn is no longer pinned, and the bishop on h4 was not much better than on the g3. So yeah, you're really kicking his bishop away again, and it's another defender of the king. And Yeah, very harmonious position.
Yeah.
So he has to go with the bishop because it's hanging. Bishop back to d7. And yeah, what would you play here? Maybe you remember your move, but let's come up with a good move for white.
There's two candidates I'm thinking of. Do I take the pawn on e4 or do I move c3 to c4?
Okay. And what's the point? Let's take the one first. Why f takes e4? What is your point there?
F takes e4.
That's what you said, right? You said this one
Yeah, yeah.
or this
Yeah,
one.
so the reason why I'd move c3 to c4 is takes, takes, takes. So I lose a pawn. But,
Yeah.
you know, I am up a piece, so can I afford to lose a pawn to have a breakthrough, open the game? Or I could take, because if I don't take, let's say he takes me, and then I take, we check, and then I take, he takes again. So he could take the g2 pawn at the end of that. So it's quite close. I think I don't want to wait for him to take me. I'll take the f3 pawn, and then it seems like he's setting the pace. So I thought I'll take first.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I understand. So you have dismissed c4, right? Because he just takes twice, you lose a pawn, you said.
Yeah,
Okay. By the way, if it's black to play and he takes on f3, let's I know it's white to play, but let's say black plays he takes f3. How do you
yeah.
recapture?
I would take the rook first.
Fine. Rook takes, and then
I take back with the g pawn.
okay.
Or do I take back with the knight? No, I take back, but then I take g4. Then I'm exposing my king. So yeah, I take back with the knight.
Yeah, take back with the knight. If he takes on f3, you can take on e8 first, but also I would definitely take with the knight. It just keeps your king safer, and
Yeah,
it doesn't split up your pawn. Suddenly you would have an f and an h pawn, so you always take back with the knight there. Yeah, king safety is really important, especially with heavy pieces on the board.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, you took on e4, but
What do you
now,
think of that?
well, I don't like it very much because of tactical reasons. Because look at this, the bishop returns.
Right. Yeah. No, no, there you go.
Yeah.
It's hard
By
being
the
me.
well, yeah, it's a but you know it's easy to fall for. You had bishop g4, then you had f3 to not lose an exchange, but now you have voluntarily removed the f pawn and the bishop returns. So the bishop has gone up and down a few times. Um, yeah, I played around with this for a while. Actually, it's not so bad for yeah, it's still good for white. I show you just one line that quite a long line. I just played through it. You could take on d5 here. He has to, let's say he takes the exchange. You have to take with the knight, because if you take with the queen, you lose your queen. And then, for example, it looks quite good for black. He comes in with his queen. But you have knight f4. That's a nice square for the knight. And it's now bishop and knight versus a rook. For example, he gives a check. I just show you one line. King goes in the corner. Then he can take a pawn, but he also can go towards his king. And here I stop the analysis. And this is actually very good for white. Bishop and knight are stronger than the rook, and your king is safer than his king.
Yeah,
But yeah, you're now bishop and knight for a rook up instead of a full piece.
yeah.
But this is a line that could have happened. But okay, you didn't do that, but you can still, how can you still avoid to lose the exchange? You know, earlier you were able to play f2, f3 to make sure you won't lose an exchange. And now
Do I
you
put the
found
knight?
another way to do that.
Oh, do I put the knight there?
Yeah, you played knight f3.
Did I do that?
You did.
Yay.
Yeah, yay, indeed. But of course, he took now on e4, and oh, chess is difficult now. Suddenly your knight is attacked, and it's also pinned, you could say, because if it moves, then he can take the exchange after all.
So should I play h3?
Let's have a look. I didn't look at that move. I know what you're saying, counter-attacking, so
Oh, I can't do it. I ain't got time.
why not?
Takes.
Yeah, take
So
where? Hang on. What is taking what? Because lots of
sorry.
stuff can take.
Bishop on g4 takes f3.
Yeah.
And there you go. He's avoided it. So then if I take back with the pawn on, and he takes back,
He
I can
takes.
get away with it. Yeah, sorry, he takes back with the e4 pawn f3.
Yeah. I see a better move. Look at that.
Oh
Something
yeah.
hanging. With check.
Mm,
Yeah. He probably will take he take with check first. Take a
mm.
full piece there.
It's very sticky, this.
Yeah, this is good for black. So h3 doesn't really work because of bishop takes f3, and that's good for black, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else can we do here?
Okay. What about knight to h4?
Knight h4. And what does that move do? Why did you decide? Why did you suggest that?
Threatens to take the queen.
Exactly. In between move, attacking a higher value piece. It's complicated because he can take on e2, and then he's suddenly attacking your queen as well.
Between check. So if he takes the rook, well, he won't, will he? I take, we check.
Uh,
He has to respond to that, and then I move the queen out of the way.
yeah, exactly. Even though he's attacking your queen, because you take with check, that's crucial. He doesn't have time to take your queen, and now suddenly this is very good for white.
Yeah, I've been
Oh
doing
yeah,
a bit of my own. I've been doing a bit of my own work. I tell you.
yeah. Knight h4 is a good move. Um, and the engine likes knight d4 as well. And it says if you now take the exchange, then you just take back and oh, not like that, but like that.
Yeah.
And suddenly it says you have again bishop and knight for the rook, and bishop and knight are very nice in this position. It
Okay.
likes white, but I like your knight h4 and the tactic you saw with knight takes g6 check.
Yeah.
Okay, so of course it's a game. So far you've played really well. We know it's a game you lost. Here you played knight e5. And again, it was yesterday, and I tried to understand the move.
You
What your
see,
point
what it
was.
was is, you know how I just suggested h4. It's the same process of thinking. I
Mm-hmm.
just didn't calculate it well. I just went the other way instead.
Okay, but that was your point, attacking the queen.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the only problem is that on h4, the knight was on a protected square, or a square that was not controlled by black. And here, yeah, he can just take the knight, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what he did. He took it with the rook. And
Mm.
that skewer is still there. You've just given away a knight. Well, not completely, of course. Bishop takes e5. That's maybe he could also have taken your knight with the pawn, and he doesn't hang the rook on e5.
Mm.
But he took with the rook, so you took his rook.
Yeah.
Game is still on; it's still about equal. He, by the way, here, okay, if you're black, do you take on e2 or do you play something else?
You take the bishop because the skewer's still there.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't know if I ever told you the wise saying in chess: a threat is stronger than the execution.
No.
Well, that's a new one, and that's a very famous chess expression. Um, this is not a perfect example, but the threat, of course, is to win the exchange. Um, but as long as the threat is there, you don't have to execute it, you know. So sometimes,
Yeah.
and then there's better examples. I can send you a better example, but sometimes it's better to keep a threat in the position because your opponent will then constantly have to deal with that threat or think about that threat or is a little bit stuck with his pieces because of that threat instead of executing it because then it's done. So
Yeah.
that, and in this case, it's a little example of it. You have a threat of winning an exchange, but there's something more useful to do. Take the bishop, and the threat of winning the exchange is still there. Yeah, threat is stronger
Yeah.
than the execution. Okay, but he took, and now your queen is hanging. And I like your next move. What was your next move here?
Bishop takes f6.
Exactly, the
I thought,
desperado.
yeah, and I thought I'd take a pawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I thought if I get a pawn up, go
Yeah,
into an endgame with the pawn up.
exactly. No, good thinking. And that's another chess expression. The desperado. Have we talked about that ever?
Yeah, it sounds like a bit like my life.
Yeah, in chess, the desperado. I mean, you're gonna lose that bishop anyway. You know, you have to save your
Yeah.
queen, and he's taking your bishop. So you might as well get a pawn for it. So the
Yeah.
desperado is sacrificing
And
yourself.
and it works with check, obviously. But this is
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say. Like Rick, like let's say there's 10 tools of chess. You know, my past few years with you, I've learned the other 5. Yes, my rating's gone down and I'm losing games, but there are parts where I'm learning sort of the other 5 now. And that the first 5, I'm losing that. But there's other bits that I'm getting, I'm trying to say, like, there's bits here that I'm doing that, a few calculating lines with check, this now. You like my move? I did the bishop on g3. There are other things that I do that I bet like I'm getting better at, if that makes sense.
definitely, definitely. No, I can't agree with you more. I can't, and it's true. And what, yeah, trying to combine all those wisdoms of chess and what applies in which position. That's a difficult thing. But yeah, no, bishop takes f6 check. The desperado works here. You win a pawn for the piece. So he has
Yeah,
to take it because he's in check, and you save your queen. Well, take his bishop.
nice.
And indeed, we have now queen and rook, and white is a pawn up.
Yay.
Yay. Rook e8,
So
and
just to add, after all that, the rook, the skewer, this and that, I'm right now, I'm not doing too bad.
no, this is so far has been a good game. You played rook f1 here.
Yeah.
I
Oh
see
yeah,
an alter.
there's a pawn hanging, a6.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, exactly. Thank you for the pawn. And you just have to make sure there's no funny business on the back rank or anything. But there's no
Mm.
funny business. You just win a second pawn.
I could pull my hair out. Do you know what my thought process was? I thought F1, just start getting just getting that file towards the king. I just thought that.
No, rook f1 is a fine move. Activating your rook towards the center, going after his king, which is still less safe than your king. You know, it only has one pawn protection. But yeah, through checks, captures, attacks, you would have won a second pawn as well. But no, rook f1, I'm not against that at all. It's a good move. Queen e5. And um, what are the candidate moves here,
Um, C4. That doubles my pawns at the end. Um, well, I can't say get the king out because the queen's on the board. But let me think. Take. No. Right. Any checks? Let's do something that I don't do. Any checks? No. Is there a way to get the queens off the board? Any captures? No. Any attacks? Don't know, Rick.
You also have to look, of course, not only for your own checks, captures, attacks, but also for your opponents. Any captures for your opponent? Is he threatening to?
Oh, B4.
Yeah, he's threatening to take this guy, right? Yeah. So B4 is a move. Queen E3 is a move. I like Queen E3 as well because it blocks the pawn. You know, you don't want those pass pawns. You want to keep them as far up the board as possible. You don't want to. Pawns usually, well, that's not always the case. I was going to say pawns usually get stronger the further they get up the board. Also, they can also get weak, of course, and that's again one of the most difficult a difficult thing in chess. But Queen E3 is a nice move, centralizing the queen a bit more. But yeah, B4 also to protect that pawn. So look for checks, captures, and attacks for your opponent as well. Look, what is he trying to do? Not only your own plans. Okay, you played Rook F2. And I don't understand that move.
The truth is, I didn't know what to play, so I thought I'd just make a move. I thought open file. I thought it's not as passive. It can up and that's what I actually hold on. I don't know if I'm looking at going queen to F1, going for check on F8, trying to just get the pieces off the board. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense to put a battery on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just a bit worried about this guy running. But anyway, he could have taken on C5, taking that pawn, but he played E3 instead. You know, pushing that pawn. And as I said, the further the pawn goes, it can be very dangerous. On the other hand, it can become weak as well. You played Rook F3. And now that's a nice square for the rook, attacking the pawn. It's defended twice, but you know he has to be careful. He can still take on c5, which he did, and it keeps the pawn on e3 protected. The queen protects it on c5 as well as on e5. You kicked the queen. I like that move.
Yeah.
Queen b6. He wants to keep this pawn protected twice. That's his right position. If he loses that pawn, then he has a very bad position. And here you played b3.
The truth of the matter is, I don't really know what to play, is the truth. I think what I'm doing is, I'm just doing a move that's okay. Well, not okay, but like throwing it back to him like a tempo. Just play something, throw it back to him, see if something comes to mind. I just didn't know what to do, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah. They call that a half move. You know, b3. It's not really doing much. Actually, it's probably even a bit of a weakening move. Now suddenly these two pawns are weak. Rook f7. You know, this is what I looked at. Rook f7. The threat is queen g4 and checkmate. Now you like to attack.
And I realised I've heard a saying: rooks like open files and 7th ranks.
Yeah.
And second, really.
Yeah. And especially now he has misplaced his queen a bit. You know, that queen is suddenly not more than a bishop there, defending the e3 pawn, but it's not doing anything else at the moment on b6. So he really has misplaced his strongest piece somewhat.
You know, if I move my queen, let's say, to g4, what about him moving the pawn to e2 with that discovery, and then the pawn promotes to a queen?
Yeah, true. It's not so simple. No, I'm not saying you're totally winning after rook f7 and that if you can make 3 moves in a row, you're winning. True.
Yeah,
No, black definitely has also his trump cards. Very good, very well spotted. And that happened in the game, by the way. There was a discovery at the end.
yeah.
That's
Well,
well spotted.
I only discovered the discovery when the discovery happened.
Uh,
Like now I see it. I didn't see
yeah,
it then.
yeah, no, but you saw it here, and it's good because I showed a nice plan for white, but you said, hang on, black also can make moves. So you
I'm
spotted it.
getting there. I'm
Yeah.
getting there.
And then, so if you're worried about a discovery, what is a way to make sure the discovery is no longer there?
King H1.
Yep, King H1 or King F1, and you always have to. King H1 is more logical, is safer. King F1 is closer to if the pawn ever pushes. So again, it's something you have to think what is the best move. But yeah, that is definitely something to consider. If you're worried about the discovery, then you can play the king away, and you don't have, it will never be discovery anymore. Okay, so quite a rich position. You played b3, he played king g8. Um, you played c4.
Yeah.
He took, and that's a bad move actually, because now suddenly your attack works, and that's not so easy. Um, I'll show you how you could really get a raging attack and not being worried about a discovery. You could have played rook g3 check here. I know you like to give checks, and and here that would have been strong. If he goes
Yeah.
in the corner, which looks logical, um, then you have actually a mate in 4 starting with queen b2 check.
B2,
Not
yeah,
easy.
B2. Saw that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And well, actually, it's very simple. All he can do is interpose all his pieces, and you take them one by one.
Yeah.
C3, queen d4, and rook e5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's see
So
that. Let's see that again. Just take it back a step, because right. So, what did he play? Okay, so he's just taken. So rook to g3. He can he not? You know how he went back? Can he not go to f8 though?
yeah, he can, but of course that's in the firing line of your pieces because you play queen f3 check, and you're going to chase him, and this is not going to work out. King e7. You know, a king like that will not survive with those heavy pieces.
What would be the
Um,
line from Eric?
okay, well, rook
Rook
g7
to
check.
g7. Yeah.
Yeah, king
I'll,
d8.
and then uh queen f6.
Queen f6 is, yeah, check. Uh, yeah, no, I'm just looking here with the engine. Apparently, that's a big mistake, and I try to understand why. Well, we can have a look. King c8. And I guess the point is you don't have any checks anymore, and this is a big threat.
Oh, okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. So
So to give another check. Rook g7 check, king d8, give another check. A different check than queen f6. And suddenly it's mate in 4 from here for white.
where's another check from here? Okay, so another check. It's hold on. Oh, queen d1.
Queen d1 check. And if he goes to c8,
Oh, d7, queen.
queen d7, king b8.
Take the rook with the queen. No, checkmate. Oh yeah, then take.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, what a game.
Yeah.
What
So in this case, giving checks is important because if you don't have check, then he always has a discovery. So here you really have to, if you win this, it has to go all with check. But it does if you start with rook g3.
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Not expecting you to see it. And the whole why is this suddenly possible? Because you played c4 and suddenly this diagonal is open, and in one of those lines that was a crucial way for the queen to get in.
I'm a clever man, aren't I?
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I would expect you to find it. So queen takes
Oh,
c4 check you played
yeah.
instead which is also
Yeah,
a good move. King
yeah.
h8, and now you went a little bit too optimistically after the attack, forgetting about the defense, because that is a blunder, because you have burned your bridges behind you.
Go on.
Because of course he played the discovery
Oh yeah.
and
If it was up to
threatening to
that,
promote, and there's nothing you can do against it. And this is how the game ended. What a game indeed! It
yeah. That ain't a bad game, to be honest, Rick.
was a very good game.
Yeah. Other than that, if we didn't have that discovery, this could have been a win for me. It could
Yeah,
have been a win.
yeah, exactly.
Isn't
But
it
that was
mad
a
how like if it's choosing your weapon of choice. I went with the queen, but if I went with the rook, we would have done that line. I go that way, it's a different line. Mad.
mad
This is
game.
tough. Chef is tough.
Oh, it's very difficult. And the thing is, the more you understand about chess, the more complicated it gets. You never get, nobody can master this game, and at every level it is still difficult. It's always difficult, even for the best
Yeah,
players in the world.
yeah. No, thanks for that, Rick. That was really good.
Okay, anything else on this game?
No, thank you.